All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Bassmaster Open Anglers Weigh In on Bassmaster Fantasy. We're at Lake Champlain this week. Each of us have been at Lake Champlain. It's a phenomenal fishery, has a lot of really nice fish, both largemouth and smallmouth bass, located in upstate New York, right on the border of New York and Vermont. Definitely one of those game changer events. I think you're going to see some really great weights, but before we dive into that, I've got Todd on here with me. As you can tell, Hallman's not here. Hallman had a prior engagement, so we had to get this video done. So I've got Hallman's picks. But let's talk about last week first, St. Lawrence River. Todd, you had like a phenomenal week. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I mean, that one was probably like the Johnston brothers were pretty easy. I'm not gonna lie, and they were split up. So that like it was gonna be hard to go wrong on those two picks. So you almost got two freebies on there. The Paul Mueller pick, I was really not that he wasn't a dark horse by any means, but I thought that was a pretty good pick because he was leading it the whole time. So like basically the whole event, I had number 1 and number 2 as my picks. And then Corey all of a sudden after day one started rising up in there. It's the first time I picked Scott Canterbury all year. And it's probably one of his – he didn't have a bad event. And even like I know me and you were kind of talking that our Brandon Polnick, Chris Zaldane picks were in there. And all of a sudden, like they all of a sudden shot back up there and were players. So –
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was crazy. Mine was the better pick because he finished one place higher than yours. Yeah. But, I mean, ultimately, I think it's kind of a wash. Both of them had great events. And, I mean, you can't ask for 10th and 11th being much better than that.
Yeah, if that's your third pick is 10th and 11th, I mean, you're pretty good up there. So I hadn't really paid a lot of attention to like since this is my first year playing, I really don't know about points. Like I don't know how many points in a round is good. I'm sure I hadn't really paid attention like to see what I placed in that week. I just know what I'm placed overall. And I think me and you are both trying to catch Hallman. And Hallman's up there at like 98th percentile, and I just got up into the 97th percentile.
Just to throw I'm at 89th. I'm struggling a bit. I had a bad pick this week with Gerald Swindle, which is not a bad pick notoriously. He just had a bad event, and we all have bad events, and sometimes you pick one player wrong, and that's just kind of how it goes. I remember actually being in fantasy football league with Todd one time. I didn't make very many bad picks that year. I think I ended up winning it all. So we all make bad picks sometimes. Oh, yeah, I smoked you that year, dude. They wouldn't even invite me back. I didn't even get invited back.
I've never finished less than second or third ever in fantasy football.
Yeah, but you didn't win. You didn't win.
I don't even remember that. Must have been a long time ago.
It was a while ago. We hadn't played in a while. Actually, I think we should do that. We should do a fantasy football group and get me, you, Hallman, maybe Scott, Billy, and get a group together and actually talk about it on here because I think people would actually be pretty interested in it. Because a lot of football fans are still also fishing fans, obviously. So, but hey, let's dive on into this. Champlain this week. Literally, you only have like a day or so to make your picks, so make sure you make your picks at bassmasterfantasy.com. If you haven't signed up, make sure you do so. Super, super easy, and it's fun. You can follow along with myself and Todd Castledine, Bradley Hallman. Follow our picks, and hopefully it'll lead you to victory. Obviously, you probably want to listen to Hallman or Castledine because they are definitely making some very good decisions at this point. So, Todd, let's hear your Group A pick, and then I will say what Hallman's Group A pick. I'm going to go ahead and put you right on the spot. Let's see what you got.
And I like to do this. Like, I don't really do any research or anything, I'll be honest with you. I don't even make my picks until literally right now. Like, I have not made a pick, so I'm picking it right now. I just like to get on there, and it's pretty simple. This isn't even close. This is by far the hardest group, and I think the hardest decision. And before we get going, here's why. I want to explain something about Champlain. I've only been there once. Champlain is not necessarily a smallmouth deal. It's not – I mean, you got largemouth there when you go down to Ticonderoga, so that's a big player. They're not spawning. I don't think
– Wait just a second. Oh, my gosh. I'm getting so wet right now. It's not even funny. Holy crap. Look at this. Just like pouring down rain outside. I was that smart guy and decided to shoot this video outside today. Not very smart, evidently. But what you got? You go for it.
Champlain's a tough one, right? I mean, it's not necessarily smallmouth. We were there last year. It was, I wouldn't say it was dominated by largemouth, but that was, Casey Scanlon being down there, and Ty Conderoga and some other guys down there. So this is a tough one because you can't just look at it as a smallmouth deal, and they're not spawning. And I don't know how hard those fish on Champlain are, them smallmouth are, how hard they are to catch. And they're big at Champlain. Like the largemouth are pretty big, and the smallmouth really aren't that big. Wouldn't you agree? Like the smallmouth aren't these.
Yeah, the smallmouth weigh a lot heavier, obviously, during the spawn. Once the spawn's over, the smallmouth tend to play a little less. But for multi-day events, they tend to rise up a little bit because they're so consistent for that 3 to 3.5 pound range fish. But you still need that kicker or two largemouth every day, it seems like there.
Right, and they have them down there. I mean, so this is a tough one. So that's why I'm going to pick. It's such a hard one. I'm going to pick Brandon Polinick for, I think, the diverse reason that I think he might – there's no telling what he might go do, but I think he might be the most, I would say, diverse maybe to do something like this. So I'm picking Brandon.
I think that's a good pick. I mean, Polnick's had success there before in the past, and there's no reason why he wouldn't here at this event. Hallman actually has Jamie Hartman. I think that's a smart pick. Hartman's from New York. He's highly, highly owned at this event, so that's an obvious one in my eyes. So my pick in Group A, like Todd said, it's such a hard group to pick. There's so many good fishermen there. I actually went Clark Winlet, though. Clark's had a very good track record there over the years. It fits his style. He understands that place. He's a good grass fisherman. I think he's going to figure out the largemouth and the smallmouth, and I think that's a big key is to know how to catch both and to be diverse in that. All right, so, Todd, who is your Group A dark horse?
Since you picked Clark, that would be who I'd go for. I'll tell you one that's kind of interesting, and I can't figure out why. I think a Matt Airy is an easy one at 2.1. Like that's an easy one.
Yeah, that's a really easy one. Airy has been there a ton of times, and he's done really well there. Actually that was gonna be my regular pick, just for the fact that I know he has caught him there. I mean, he knows what goes on. He can catch them up north, catch them down south. He's gonna be very diverse in that group. My dark horse. So we don't have a dark horse for Hallman, unfortunately. My dark horse in this group is Chad Pipkins. I picked him last week as my primary, but Pipkins is going to catch him. He's had a ton of experience on those northern fisheries. It's hard not to pick a guy from Michigan that catches smallmouth all the time. And if there's anybody in that field that can figure out the smallmouth, it's going to be him. There's no doubt about it.
Is there going to be 4 guys out of the top 10 in this group?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, even just look at Brad Watley at 0.1%. Watley's running 3 top 50s, 2 top 35s, and 1 top 10.
Didn't Taku make a top 10?
Yeah,
I mean, I keep on looking at all these, and I'm just going. And then you got Buddy Gross, who's made a couple. I mean, if it's an option.
We got Patrick Walters. I mean, look at him. Like the year he's had, and not to mention the fact that it's a grass lake and it's going to fish really similar to Florida. Micah Frazier's solid up there.
Well, he just did good. And guys, we're not looking over Paul Mueller. I just picked him as my number 1 guy overall last week. So, I mean, it's just hard for me to pick a guy 2 weeks in a row. I just can't, like.
Well, I picked Winlet. My main reason I picked Winlet was the fact that he's coming off a strong finish at St. Lawrence River. He's a momentum type fisherman, and I really think he's going to do well. Like, he's so momentum driven.
That's why I picked Polnick. because
Yeah.
same deal. He even wrote a little post how about like how he made a lot of good decisions to make it top 10 and then a lot of bad ones because he finished 10th. I think he's going to have a little bit of like, since he didn't do like
Yeah.
10th place is good, but like, yeah, let the little bit of like, man, he really wants to like get
He
after it.
wants to win. Like, there's no doubt.
Yeah. When you finish first or second, you got momentum, but sometimes you're kind of like let off. Not let off, you just
Yeah.
get comfortable. But
All right, so let's go Group B. I'll go ahead and start with Hallman. He picked Gussie, Jeff Gustafson, however you say his last name. Sorry, Gussie. It's really hard to say your last name, man. Not surprising there. Seeing that on the last event, Hallman talked about he's going full Canadian on these last two events, or these next two events, which will be St. Lawrence and Lake Champlain, so I'm not surprised whatsoever with his pick. Todd, who do you have Group B? And like Todd said earlier, he picks right now. You put him on the spot, and he's going to make his pick, which I think is pretty cool because you kind of get to see what's going on in his mind, where he's going to talk us through exactly where he's at with this.
I have learned with some of this stuff that sometimes you can overthink this. And I didn't overthink last week, and I did good. The last 2 weeks I've not overthought it. There's two guys in here that are going to catch them. I'm not saying they're going to make a top 10. It's just who do you want, Zaldane or Seth? And I'm going to have to go Seth on this one. I just think it's. I'm going Seth on this.
I think Fighter's a solid pick. I actually struggled with this one. I think there's three guys in this particular one. Actually, four if you want to count Gussie. But I say there's three.
Okay, yeah.
I say there's three guys in this that I lean heavily on. Zaldane's one of them. Seth Fighter's one of them. But the one that I can't stop going back to, and that has just been on my mind this entire time, is Stetson Blaylock. I think Stetson, he's had a track record there that is extremely solid. He's extremely diverse, and for whatever reason, every single time we've been there, he's caught them. And when I say we've been there, like, back in our days fishing the other trail, he's had really, really, really solid events on that lake. And he's hungry. I mean, dude, just look at his finishes: 4 top 50s, 2 top 35s, and 2 top 10s. So every time, two of the 4 times he's made the top 50, he's made the top 10. I like those odds extremely well. And he's only owned at 7.7%. So who's your dark horse in this one, Todd?
It was between two guys until I saw this guy's name because he's at 3.4. But I'm going to pick Brock. Brock Mosley, I think people underestimate these largemouth down here, and I think in the chatter, like I know Brock was throwing a chatterbait, that's just going to be a given at Champlain as well. So
yeah,
I mean, I was there. I know what they eat down there. So that's my dark horse, Brock.
I'm actually going dark horse at Austin Felix at 2.5%.
That was my second. Yeah. I said I had two of them. That was my other one.
Yeah. Felix is just hard not to pick. I mean, he's got a track record there as well. He typically does extremely well their sight fishing. Obviously, that's probably not going to be the case this time. I haven't been up there this year, but I'm going to assume the spawn is way over, and I just don't think it's going to play this year. So let's go ahead and drop into Group C. I will take the lead on this one because I think it's a pretty easy one. Well, I say it's easy. We have two Canadians in this one. I'm going to go Chris Johnson. He's coming off the win. I really want to go Corey because I know that brotherly rival that one wins one and the other's going to win the other. But I think Chris is going to be on a roll there. I think he's going to catch them. So I'm going to go Chris Johnson. And actually, speaking of that, Hallman also went Chris Johnston in Group C as their primary pick. Todd, who do you got? Are you rolling with the Johnstons or are you going somewhere else?
Chris won this last one. I just want to make sure, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and Corey.
Yeah, you're going Corey. So you're playing the brotherly rival there. I got you.
Well, because man, I'm not so sure Corey didn't have a better last 3 days to catch back up
Yeah.
than, you
Yeah,
know what I'm
he
saying?
had a solid couple days for sure. The
Yeah,
one that really hurts me in this group, and I picked him 3 times, and I picked Chris 3 times, is John Cox. Like, I want to pick John Cox so ridiculously bad. Once again, he knows this place. The thing about John is he's running an aluminum boat, and if you're running an aluminum boat, you can't make that run to Ticonderoga. You can't do it. What that means is going to limit him to fishing largemouth on the northern end of the lake, which in years past has been the best place to go.
that's a
So
long way too, though.
it is a long ways, but it's more
That's,
protected, and that's the most important part.
that's true. You can get there, but it's a long ways.
It is a long ways, but he definitely can make that run, and I think he will. And that's my dark horse. I don't know if you really consider 9.9 a dark horse, but if I was going to pick literally anybody else, that's who I would pick. And because he is going to have a good event, there's no doubt in my mind. Who you rolling dark horse, Todd? Group C.
I think I have to go Steve Kennedy.
Yeah, I can't argue
I
that one at all.
if he go if he goes anywhere around these places and throws a swim, like it's the dark horse. I mean, that's what it is. But I just think it's a place that could. That Ticonderoga is fishing different, and it fished different last year when we were down there. And I don't know if the grass is. I just think it might be. That's just my pick.
Well, the only other dark horse that I mean, there's a lot of guys in that group that can catch them.
Yeah.
I know one that has had some success at Champlain this time of year, and he throws big baits and big glide baits, and that's Jochimson as well.
Yeah.
And he's had some really big events now up there, and so I would expect Jochimson to do well. If you wanted me to pick somebody less than 9.9%, Jochimson's my dark horse in that regard. It's just so hard to pick that first one because I just know Cox is going to catch him, and I know one of the two Johnson brothers, if not both of them, are going to catch them and make a top 10. All right, let's go Group D. Who you got, Todd?
Easy.
Yeah, this is an easy one for me.
No brainer.
Who are you going?
Everyone's going to be like, what do you mean no brainer? Brian Schmidt.
Yep. Actually, it's funny. We're all three Brian Schmidt. Hallman, Todd, and I are all three rolling Brian Schmidt. The reason that Brian Schmidt is going to catch him here
because we have inside info. We
inside info.
Like people have no idea that like he's good. He's good up there. Last year
every time.
What did he do last year after the tour? He should have smoked him. He caught a big bag on day 2. Rolled back there the next week.
21. Yeah.
Didn't he win was it the BFL or like the Costa or something? Or
yeah, dude. The guy just straight smashes them up there all the time. Swim jig, chatterbait. If they're biting either of those two baits, he's gonna catch them. And he's gonna catch them big.
Catch them. Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Like it's gonna be phenomenal. That's an easy one. So who is your dark horse in this group? Since we're all rolling the same one in that.
Yeah, I hadn't picked him in a while, or say I haven't picked him. I mean, at first it's, man, God, why do I want to pick him? I'm gonna have to go. Listen, I just don't think they're going to be on a jerkbait.
Yeah, you're leaning Kelly J, aren't you?
Yeah, kind of. And I don't know why, but Destin DeMarion, I mean, he's from up there. Is at 2.5. So many of these other guys. Let me tell you something. You have to really be diverse, man, going up to some of these places. And when you're from the South, Florida, Louisiana, it's hard. It's hard, and he's kind of from up there. And so it's funny. It says Grove City or Pennsylvania, like he fishes in Florida a lot, but I mean, he's up there a lot too. So I'm just going with Destin.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick. I'm actually gonna go Caleb Summerall, Louisiana guy. You know he's going to swim jig. You know he's going to chatterbait. He's had a really good year. I mean, 3 top 50s, 2 top 35s. It's hard to argue that. And the style of fishing that they do in Louisiana in comparison to Lake Champlain is actually extremely similar. So I think you're going to see some carryover there.
And I know Caleb's not probably going to watch this, but hey, Caleb, don't forget, man, don't forget some gas this time, buddy.
Oh, no.
I know. I felt so bad for him, man. If y'all don't know, Caleb was so busy going to his next spot or two, he ran out of gas coming back on the day and didn't get. I don't know if his fish got weighed in, but he didn't forget he didn't like run out of gas like because he forgot. He just was like fishing and realized he had passed up the place to get gas and it was too late.
Yeah,
so.
that we all kind of make those mistakes from the time to time.
I know.
And it's hard because especially when you get in the moment and you're rolling and you got something on your mind, it's really hard to switch that off. So let's go Group E. Man, this is actually kind of a tough group to pick. I actually went Lee Livesey here. I don't know if he has any experience there, but he's had a really good year so far. He had a really good year last year. He's highly owned, but in this particular situation, he's ranked 41st. He's the highest ranked angler in the group. Hard not to argue success. He's had success, so I had to go the success route on this one. That's the only thing that I went with. And he's from Texas, and I think those Texas guys can squabble. So I'm all about some Texas guys catching bass. Who you got?
And it's funny the percent. I mean, these people know how to play this game because it's him or Bob Downey, and I agree. I mean, everyone else is just kind of. It's a tough one. I'm with you. He's doing pretty good. I mean, I'm gonna have to go Lee Livesey too. I mean, that's my pick. I'm not. Listen, I'm not gonna lose to y'all guys, so I'm not gonna sit there and like just pick someone different, just because. Someone different. I mean,
so
it's getting down a little bit now. We're all trying to like win this thing. So.
Oh yeah. So Hallman actually had a kind of a out there pick, I would say. He went with another Virginia guy.
Oh, I was gonna guess to see you had, but obviously I know now.
Rick Morris. I don't know where he's going with that pick, but the only thing I can think is Morris has a ton of experience on Potomac. Shallow water guy. You know, I understand that. And Morris is a veteran, so he's had a lot of experience a lot of places. And we talked about it in the last episode. When you don't know who to pick, go with a veteran because a veteran is going to have more experience, more time on the water, and at the end of the day, a lot of times is a tiny bit more consistent of a pick, even in a group that might not seem like it has any consistency in it. So who are you going with dark horse, Todd? Who you got?
How do you Tyler? How do you say his last name?
Carey. I don't know. Is that the one you're referring to?
Yeah. And here's why. This is a straight up. He's from Louisiana. You never know. Like if people pick me from Texas, I wasn't even thinking about ever going down to Ticonderoga. You know, but some of those guys, like some of these guys from Louisiana and Florida and some, like I think if they don't have any comfort of trying to catch smallmouth, and when I was there, I had no problem. I went smallmouth fishing the whole time, but if they don't have any comfort going after smallmouth, you can go all the way down there and go fish like you would in Louisiana. So don't be surprised if there's a guy in the top 10 from Louisiana in this thing. You know what I'm saying?
Agree.
Because of that.
Yeah, I'm going with the Louisiana train here. I'm actually going Quentin Capo.
Okay.
I think Capo is once again, if they are on largemouth, and to your point, if guys don't want to chase that smallmouth bite or don't have the experience or just honestly just have a lot more comfort fishing a frog. You know, we didn't even talk about that, but a frog is definitely a player this time of year, late July, going into August. I mean, that's when that frog plays there. Flipping, that kind of stuff. I think you're going to see some guys have a lot of success doing those things. But you know what? We have one more thing to pick, Todd. I don't know how close we were last time. I think we were all pretty much off because Chris Johnson blew the weights out of the
Well,
water. Let's just be honest.
him and Paul Mueller did, and
Yeah.
but third place and fourth and fifth, like they were all dead on our number.
Oh yeah, yeah. They just caught him really, really good. So who do you got, or what do you have on your tiebreaker? What's your weight on your tiebreaker currently?
I have. So let me do this in my head. What I'm thinking, I have a number now. Man, I just don't think. I don't know how Champlain's fishing. I'm gonna go 68.9.
68.9.
I
All
have
right.
no idea if that's horrible. Is that? I always feel like I'm gonna be like 20 pounds off from y'all.
Well, I don't. You're off considerably from Hallman. Hallman is 75 pounds 9 ounces.
Okay.
I looked at some past results on that place. In the spawn, the smallmouth spawn, the weights actually are around that 73 to 76 range.
Right. That's what I figured.
So I still, though, on mine, his was 75 pounds 9 ounces. I still went 72 pounds 6 ounces, just a hair under the average. And only because of post spawn, but I still think those largemouth guys are going to catch big ones. I've been there during the post spawn a few times, and it was absolutely ridiculous. You caught, I mean, just an absolute ton of fish and big ones. I mean, that's when those really big largemouth get on those docks, especially up north. They get on docks. You can catch them on big glide baits, wacky rigged ochos, things like that, and you're going to catch mega fish. Definitely one of those things that play. Not to mention the frog, chatterbait, swim jig, swim bait, buzz bait. You know, top waters start coming into play as well. You're going to see guys catch them on walking top waters, like a spook or a sexy dog. Big baits are going to play at Champlain this week. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be a lot of little stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And if you haven't watched it, you need to make sure you tune in and watch Bassmaster Live. They are absolutely wrecking them and wrecking big fish.
I have a weird feeling, like if something goes down weird on this event, like our picks are going to go way off. Do you have that feeling like our picks could possibly, like that if something kind of goes down with some largemouth, we might look up and it'd just be a whole different crop in there? I'm just saying.
Well, no, not really, because I actually picked fairly largemouth strong. And the other thing, actually, you know, speaking of that, I'm actually going to change a pick.
Whoa.
I'm changing a pick.
Dude, no, because I'm kind of like worried about some of my picks the more I think about it.
Okay, well, I changed the pick. Officially, first pick change.
Can I guess
first pick
one?
Change. Yeah, go guess.
You're not changing Clark, and you're not going to change. Did you change one of the Johnston brothers?
I did.
You did? God,
yeah.
I knew it. I know. See,
so Corey is actually, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, is the better largemouth fisherman. He is the better largemouth fisherman out of the two brothers. After watching him for years, I definitely feel like he's the better largemouth guy. If he's the better guy with a big stick in his hand, I think he has a better shot in this tournament.
Oh, I already got him picked.
Yeah, I know. But speaking of that, so if that's the case, I've got, for largemouth, I've got Windlet, which I think is going to be predominantly largemouth.
Yeah.
Stetson, I think, is going to play both.
That's fine.
Corey Johnson probably play both, but I think he's going to lean more largemouth. Schmidt, definitely more largemouth. And Livesay, largemouth.
Oh, you know what? Okay, well, yeah. So I guess I only have the brothers, and then I have my first – okay. Because I have Polnick in there, which can go – I have Seth in there, though. But Seth, listen.
No, Seth is hardcore largemouth. Hardcore largemouth.
I know. Yeah. If he gets on a flipping deal or some stuff.
It's fun. So you speak of that. You know, he has a jig designed by a company called Outcast Tackle. Used to be a sponsor of mine. Great company from Minnesota. And he literally designed this jig solely to flip grass up north. And he made a post on Instagram yesterday. And he said, all right, I got my rod rigged and ready for Champlain. And he literally had one rod rigged, and it was a jig for flipping grass.
Is he going up
The
north?
guy, oh, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
he's going up north.
Yeah, see,
And he's going to catch him.
Yeah, I'm all right with that pick because, like, he's like, okay. Well, I didn't pick, like, crazy drop shot guys. You're right. I picked.
The only crazy drop shot guy you picked was Polnick, but we all love Polnick. He does. I'm telling you right now, that's the reason Polnick wins tournaments, though, is he is going to go do something that nobody else is going to do.
That's why I picked him. That he'll get away from everything. But he also made a top 10 at the Arkansas River.
Yeah.
See what I'm point? Like he's liable to be off doing something like that.
Completely
I don't
different.
mind that pick. Yeah, I don't mind. He'll figure it out.
Well, that's why I like your Zaldane pick too, because I think Zaldane's open enough to just go and find him. Oh, I thought you said you were going to pick Zaldane.
I don't think I did.
No. Oh, why didn't you pick Zaldane? Is that the same group that
Yeah.
Oh no, No, that was the fighter group. So yeah, you picked fighter instead of Zaldane.
Yeah,
you said the two that you liked was Zaldane or fighter.
Zaldane, yeah.
Yeah.
And Zaldane's it was a tough one because the whole swim bait and some. I mean, I don't think you can go wrong. I think they're both going to be in the top 20, so I don't think it's a bad pick either way.
Yeah, and I kind of like took a little bit of a risk on Stetson. Definitely has a good track record there, but very lowly owned at 7.7%. Definitely a riskier pick against a fighter that obviously knows how to catch giants on that lake. But the only problem is that a lot of guys have figured out that flipping deal on Champlain, flipping that milfoil and that isolated grass with a jig. It's gotten a lot of pressure. I think that's when guys like a Stetson Blaylock come in with a wacky rig and wreck shop. I really do. Right. And I just don't even know if Fighter has a wacky rig in his boat right now. I think he's got like 5 boxes of jigs and 6 boxes of trailers, and he's ready to rock. I really do. Yeah. I mean, that's just the way he fishes. Like he is just that guy.
Well, we know that I can't even think of his name now. Our that we picked all.
Schmitty.
Schmidt. It's not like he's going to go do anything different either.
No doubt.
But he'll put his head down. He'll put his head down. I mean, he's got. Listen, there's other places. I mean, he's got a lot of thrift stuff. He's got some like.
Well, and that's kind of why I like the Matt Airy pick. Is back in the day, 5-6 years ago, Matt and Scott roomed together, and Scott's won there like 3 times, I think.
I know.
And so they don't even have to talk this year, and Matt already knows where all his best places are. Like,
and guys, I want to clear that up when I say Schmidt's got thrift stuff.
Yeah,
they're pretty good buddies, and so they talked last year when they were all there about where they were catching them and stuff. So it's not like they have to sit there and call each other up when the schedule comes out. It'd be like maybe me going to, or you coming down to Rayburn or something, and not that we know that, but a couple of places where I'd fish, and vice versa in places. So I mean, that stuff helps out, and now they don't have to compete against each other.
Exactly. I'm telling you, when you don't have to compete against a thrift or a Scott Martin.
Right.
I can tell you right now, if I could make an alternate pick, I would pick Scott on the side and be like, hey, if he just decides to jump in that thing, that's my pick because he's going to win it.
Right.
Like, how do you argue the fact that he's won like 3 times there? Like,
I know.
It's insane. So
this was fun. I'm interested to see this one. I think this is going to go down real. I don't think you're going to see the leaderboard stay real consistent like you did at St. Clair. I think it's going to be like some big time moves throughout the every day. I think.
I agree. And one other point I want to hit on, and Todd, I know you've been traveling. I actually just made a 28-hour drive back from California. Got in late last night.
And good job, by the way, catching the big bag on day 2 and moving
biggest bag on day 2.
47
87 to 9th after day 2, but then I fell to 14th. I caught 26 pounds on the Lake of the Decade at Clear Lake. Ridiculous. I'm telling you right now, dude, like I want to go back so bad. It is so awesome.
And I wouldn't tell anybody what you caught them on because that's embarrassing.
No,
But
it is embarrassing. I'm not gonna say because I don't want anybody to really know yet. I will drop a video on what I did at that lake here this week, hopefully. But one thing I want to talk about real fast is, and I don't know, Todd, if you've watched, but they've been live streaming the the Bassmaster Live on ESPN2. I don't know if
yeah,
you've watched,
I
but
did
dude,
watch.
I have gotten so many phone calls in the last, I don't know, like month of them live streaming these shows saying, man, are you fishing this event? Are you doing this? Like, they don't know exactly maybe who's in the tournament, but I can tell you right now, they all are seeing it. They're watching it. And this is unprecedented times in bass fishing that we're actually live streaming bass fishing on ESPN. Like, dude, it's the coolest thing ever. My brother literally called me on the last day of the event while I was still driving, which was yesterday. And he's like, dude, this is like the coolest thing ever. He said, I didn't know they were doing this. And my brother does not watch fishing
No, he could
at
care less.
all. He could care less. But
It,
he thought it, and he watched for like 2 hours. He said he couldn't turn it off. He just watched.
there's some good things. There's some good things with all this stuff. But you got to pick and choose the little good things that are coming out of it. At least this might be one of them. But we'll hold
Hey,
on to this one little thing. Yeah.
hey, any little breath of fresh air that we can
I
get
know.
2020, we got to take advantage of
Right.
it. I mean,
That's what I'm thinking.
definitely not been the best year in the whole world for everybody. But hey, guys, thank you for watching this show. I know we're missing a guy today. Unfortunately, he just wasn't able to make it, but we got his picks in there. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you check back again. If you haven't yet, follow Todd Castledine on YouTube. Throws a bunch of really cool fishing shows, all kinds of crazy stuff, fish catches, underwater shots, anything and everything you'd want. If you can, also hit that subscribe button. I think it's like on that corner there, not where the other way that Todd's pointing. But hey, like the reason we do this is it's a fun thing for us. It's not like we're not out here making millions of dollars or anything. We just really enjoy it. Like, we enjoy bringing you great content, cool fishing tips, and kind of a behind the scenes look of what goes on in our lives. We're definitely going to get together soon and shoot some more stuff. I think Hallman and I have to take on Bonds and Castledine again at some point. But right now we're just kind of like living in this victory that we have going on right now. So Todd, thank you for
I just dropped my video of me and Bonds winning a tournament from the springtime. So
which one was it? Which tournament was it?
it was kind of like that MLF style format. Like, it's the only one I've ever tried fishing.
Yeah.
Like and like, yeah. So I just
And
dropped
y'all
that one
won
yesterday.
that thing, didn't you? Yeah, y'all won, didn't you?
Yeah, we won it.
So ridiculous.
Yeah,
Well, hey,
pretty
good
bad.
job. If you need something, Todd, holler at me. Thank you again for coming on. And guys, I promise you better take a look at these picks because these guys know what they're doing between Hallman, Castledine, and myself. We've been there. We've done it. Thank you for watching, and thank you for playing Bassmaster Fantasy Fishing.
See y'all.